If you're considering investing in property, it's really important to understand the long-term holding costs associated with what you're buying. Now, for me, there's 7 major long-term holding costs associated with any property investment or home in Australia. The first one is the interest that we all pay back to the bank. Now, to work out the interest cost, it's super simple. Let's say we buy a $500,000 investment and you've got $500,000 of debt at a 6% interest rate. That first major cost, which is your interest, is going to be $30,000 per year. Now, the second major expense is also to the bank. There's 2 different ways you can do this in Australia. You can go interest only, where you just pay the minimum repayments to the bank, or you can go principal and interest, where each week, each fortnight, each month, you're slowly chipping away at the debt. Now, on a $500,000 property, if you choose to pay principal, then you'll be looking at somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 per year on top of the interest. Now, the third major expense is the management of the property. Based on our $500,000 property that rents for $500 per week, we can expect about $25,000 per year in rent. Now, most of the good agencies in Australia will charge somewhere between about 7 and 10% for their management. If we work on the management being 8% of the $25,000 a year of rent you receive on your $500K property, we're looking at about $2,000 per year in management, which I personally think is an absolute steal. The fourth expense that we've got on the property is the rates that we pay the local council. Now, this varies significantly from place to place in Australia, but I think $2,000 to $3,000 per year in rates is an average number Australia-wide on a $500K property. Then we get to the water. Now, in each state in Australia, they've got different legislation around water, but I generally factor $2,000 per year into the water administration, or in some states, the water usage. The sixth cost is the insurance, which is absolutely massive. You can either find this online on your own or work with an insurance broker like I do. But based on an investment worth $500,000 for the land and the home, I'm paying about $1,500 per year per property. The last long-term holding cost associated with property that many investors don't factor in is annual maintenance, annual compliance, and long-term renovations, cleaning, and fixing of certain components of the property. Now, that cost is a little bit harder to measure, but generally I work in with my property manager for the cleaning, for the small renovation works, and the compliance. And then I aim to keep my property in great condition longer term to not only increase the value, but also attract high quality tenants and get market rent. When we look at property, there are many, many longer term holding costs associated with it than something like crypto or stocks. But the benefit, I believe, is if you can buy a $500,000 property today and that property slowly increases in value by around about 4.8% per year, compounded over the next 15 years, your $500,000 asset today could be worth as much as $1 million in 15 years. For me personally, I absolutely love property. I'm an investor. For those of you who haven't already done so, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please give it a thumbs up and please share this with someone who is learning more about investing at the moment.
Woo! That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Getting
That's
cool,
it.
bro. Yeah. Oh, sweaty. So sweaty. Oh, that's good. Look at that.
So nice, eh?
Oh.